I was going to show something that is kind of unique to California. It appears to happen because of our very cool winter slash spring when it begins to bloom. So what you see here is the rootstock on my Verne Manila, but you kind of see three different size, pretty much two different size here. This is one fruit that's it's going to develop into a full fruit. It's fine, but then you see right here, this one right here, it's going to be pretty sure it's going to just remain this size and ripen out fine, but it's not going to get any larger. So what happens in our area here, we get a lot of these what most people call nubbins. They're like little mango fruitlets that really don't develop in size. Some people have called it incomplete pollination. I think it has to do with some fungal issues that happens in our area. If I was to cut this fruit open, I would have a seed husk, and within the seed husk I would have an embryo. If I was to cut this open, there would be a seed husk with no embryo. And what seems to happen is that that seed husk hardens off very quickly when there's no embryo, and then it just kind of stops. The size doesn't get any bigger. It just kind of stays right on this size, and then you could kind of tell it begins to mature earlier than the others because the skin starts getting rough, and it has indications like lenticels and sap on the skin, which sometimes is related to a perfectly ripe mango fruit, but these are just really tiny 1.5 inch size fruits. So this is an example of it right here. Here's another example. This is a sweet tart. Again, if you look at it, you see all these kind of little roughening of the skin, and this has remained this size for quite some time. It's definitely not getting any larger. It's probably going to stay on here. It's going to remain ripe. Yeah. And a lot of fruits, what happens with it is that it just stays at this size. It ripens. The Verne Manila is an example of one that produces hundreds of these small, tiny nubbins, and then you maybe get a couple dozen full-size fruits. The good thing about the Manila down here is that these little nubbins, they don't crack. They just, they seem the Verne Manila seems to hold on to the fruit quite well. It doesn't really crack at all, so it kind of ripens up perfectly. Same thing with the sweet tart. From my understanding, is most of the time they don't crack anything, so you get a lot of these nubbins. But there are varieties that will crack easily. I myself grow Nam Doc Mai, and with that, you could clearly see when they start off that the shape is different. They're not as elongated as a normal Nam Doc Mai. They're usually much more rounded, and then they end up cracking once the seed husk hardens off with no embryo. Okay, here's one fruit that's kind of bloomed around the same time. This is Angie. You can see this is a full-size fruit right there. This is not a full-size fruit. Okay, right here, this is a Super Julie, but already I could tell with these Super Julie that it's not getting any larger, and you could see by the skin like it's kind of cracking, and not really cracking, I would say, kind of like roughening up, and there's like little saps in it, like usually indication of when a mango kind of, like a regular sized mango kind of gets ripe. But again, these are tiny fruits, so I expect this probably to ripen up perfectly. Again, it doesn't look like this variety will crack. So So let's see how this goes. This is a super Julie. You can kind of see it right here. I could tell already that there's no embryo in these. Lots of the California mangoes kind of has this happening with them. It's pretty common, you know. The only thing is, I would say, what you see in some varieties are different. The Verne Manila seems to handle it the best with no cracking or anything like that. These two, Sweet Tart and Super Julie, seems to be handling it quite well also with no cracking, but again, mine ain't gonna size up, you know. It's gonna be just this tiny fruit. Here's some samples of kind of the more normal looking fruit. This is an ambrosia. It bloomed a lot later than the ones I just shown you, but again, they're about the same. Well, this is actually a little bit bigger. You know, around, it's a little bit bigger than the other ones, but you can kind of tell already that it's pretty normal. There's nothing wrong with this. There's no kind of, you know, roughening up of the skin, so this is all gonna develop this into a full-size fruit. So nothing wrong with them. Same here. Nothing wrong with these. Gonna develop into a regular size fruit. Very nice, smooth skin. You know, no sap coming out of it. You don't see like any lenticels kind of building up. No kind of like a roughening up of the skin, like these tiny like micro fractures that the other ones have. So oversized fruits. So this is Maha Chinook, and you can see it's developing quite nicely. These are normal size fruits. Funny thing is, I have a friend that has a tree of Maha Chinook, and he tells me that for some strange reason they develop two different shape of fruits, one that's long like this and one that's more kind of short and oval. And I mentioned to him that those short oval ones are most likely has husk but no embryos inside. And so at least for Maha, they seem to at least kind of do a better job being more disease resistant and handles it a lot better. But these are what a normal Maha looks like.